All right, so reminder, tomorrow we have our test. Okay. We do have a fire drill in this class.
Oh,
I know. So here's what's gonna happen. We need to make sure that when we get in here, we review. Fire drill is gonna happen. When we get back, we'll start the test. Gucci? Huh? It's 21, but some of those questions be easy though. Yeah. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right, let's go ahead and talk. Okay, so yesterday we talked about simple interest. So here's just a refresher. If we have a times 1 plus or minus r raised to the t. Okay, and now we're going to talk about compound interest. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the formula. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the formula. The R is the same in both. Okay, A and P are the initial values. T is time and years. And N is the new thing. We're going to talk about that in just a second. All right, so there are 3 main types of consumer banks. How many of y'all have a banking account? Like a checking account? You got some type of account. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got commercial banks. So these are for profit. Okay, they take deposits and make loans. Okay, there are thrifts. These are savings and loans. These people specialize in savings accounts and real estate. And then you have credit unions, which are nonprofit. Cooperatively owned. And they take deposits and do loans. So like when you buy a car, sometimes you have to take out a loan. Credit unions help you do that. Okay, so there are different services that are offered by banks. Okay, ready for all the tomfoolery? Okay, so checking accounts. This is going to be cash withdrawals and deposits. And this is what most of you probably already have. If you have a job, you have a checking account, right? Okay, savings account is designed for saving money. I feel like that's a duh, but yeah. Okay, your debit card is a payment card linked to your actual account. Payment card linked to account. Credit cards are a little different. Payment cards for buying on credit. Bless you. If you have a personal loan, that's going to be where you're borrowing money by an individual. So that's like if you went to your mom and dad and you're like, hey, yo, can I borrow $1,000? person. And then mortgages allow lenders to take property if payments aren't met. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm gonna give you a second. All right, on the next one, IRA. That is a individual retirement account. Individual, if I can spell today. Yep. Retirement account. CDs are certificate of deposit. Money market accounts are between credit and savings. A safety deposit box is a secure container to store valuable and then a traveler's check is a check for a fixed amount and can be used as payment. Kind of similar to what we know as a money order. Do you know what that is? Okay. All right, so interest is the price you pay to borrow money or to return earned on an investment. Have you ever like given somebody $1? They're like, hey, can I borrow $1? I'll pay you back, right? And like a week goes by and you kind of get mad because like they haven't paid you back. And then another week goes by and you get like madder, right? And eventually like you're really upset that they haven't paid you back, right? Well, interest like kind of helps with that whole situation. So when you borrow something, you will have interest accrue if you don't pay it back. Yeah. So it just adds up on top of it. Okay. So the interest paid on a loan depends on multiple factors. One factor is your credit score. Do you know what a credit score is? Say again. Kinda. Okay. So it's a number that provides an estimate of individuals' credit worthiness. Yes. In general, the better your credit score, the better interest rate you're going to get. Okay, so what affects credit score? So your payment history. So do you make payments on time? Your debt burden. So how many debts do you have? Do you have a car payment and a house payment and a whatever else you got going on? Length of credit history. Okay, that's a big one too. And then types of credit used. Recent searches for credit. That also impacts it. Okay. These are the different types of credit scores. Okay. Excellent is over 800. Excellent is over 800. Okay. Good is in that 670 to 739 range. Okay. Just because you open a credit card account doesn't automatically make you have a good credit score. Yeah. You have to kind of like prove your, like it said, worthiness of credit score. Yes. You have no credit. It's not a score of 0. It's just you have no credit. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think it's more like when you turn 18 to like start knowing credit?
So I think one of my professors said, once you turn 18 and you have a job, go get a credit card when you're able to, because like you have to have worked for a while and you have to have savings put away. They don't just give credit cards to anybody. Yeah. So you have to have savings put away. Go buy like a dinner and then pay off that dinner. And then go do that again the next month and pay it off. And then you'll build up that credit after a while. Or you could put all your gas expenses on that credit card and then pay it off. You want to pay it off as soon as you can. But you also want to leave a little bit of debt on there so that you can show that you're making consistent payments. Okay. If you wipe out all of your debt, then it kind of hurts your credit score as well. So it's a really hard game to play. Yeah. I would suggest getting a credit card though earlier so that you learn how to use it properly. Because for instance, if you go get a credit card, your allowance right now is about $10,000, which sounds great. But you go rack up $10,000 and not pay it off in time, that interest builds up. So it's not just $10,000 anymore. It's a lot more, right? Okay. Not trying to scare you. Okay. Adulting is hard. You'll be fine. All right. Simple interest. This is easy stuff. So simple interest is paid only on the principal amounts. This is a word you're going to see quite often. If you buy a car, it has a principal amount. So the amount that you borrowed. Okay. Simple interest is sometimes used on things like car loans or loans on installment. Okay. So here are the formulas for this. P is going to represent the principal amount. R is going to represent the rate. You want to make sure that you put this in as a decimal. And T is going to represent the time, so the years, the months, whatever it's measured in. Now, simple interest grows linearly. That means it's a straight line. It's going up at a constant rate. All right, so James is borrowing $2,000 from his employer and will pay it back at the end of 3 years. The employer lending the money asks that James pay simple interest of 3% annually. Okay, so how much did he start with? 2,000. What was his rate? And how many years is he doing this? Nope, that's 200. 2,000. How much is that? Type it in, type it in. 180. So when he took out $2,000, he had interest of $180. So really, by the time he finishes those 3 years, he will have spent $2,180. So I always go like, why would you do that then? The thought is, I don't have that money right now, and I need to purchase this item. So I'm going to borrow money so I can purchase item and make small payments on it. Yes, it might cost me more in the long run, but I don't have that money now. Does that make sense? You're good. So we want to find the interest paid. So we use that formula up at the top. So we did 2,000 times 0.03, that's 3%, times 3 years. Okay. You're good. All right. What about how much in total will James pay back? So how much will he pay in total? Exactly. We okay on that? Okay, when you go to college, if you don't have scholarships, grants, etc., you're going to have to take out a loan. There are some loans that make you pay interest as you're going through college. There's some that you don't have to pay interest until you graduate from college. You need to make sure that you're paying attention to which one that you're taking out. Yes? Okay. All right. Compound interest. So this one's a little different. Compound interest is interest that is applied not only to the initial principal balance of an investment, but also to the accumulated interest from the previous payments. So compound interest grows exponentially. So we talked about exponential this week. P is going to still stand for principal amount. R is going to stand for the rate. T is the time. And N is the number of times compounded. How many of y'all know what an adverb is? Okay. What is an adverb? Okay. Anybody else got it? What's an adverb? They end in ly. Okay. They describe the verb, right? So if I run quickly, quickly is the adverb. It tells you how I ran, right? It's like an adjective for a verb. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's going to be really important with compound interest. So you've got all these ly words down here. Semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. They all end in ly. Here's the deal. You have to know what each one of these words mean. So if I say semi-annually, how many times a year does that happen? Not 6, twice. Twice. It's 6 months, yes, but twice a year. What about quarterly? 4. Monthly? So how many months are there in a year?
12.
There you go, 12. How many weeks are there in a year? 52. And how many days are there in a year? Okay, y'all knew that one. Thank goodness. Okay, cool. You have to know those numbers. You can't ask me that on the quiz. Can't ask me that on the test. Those are the ones you got to know. Okay. All right. On example 2, Noah saw that several banks offered the same interest rate, but compounded the interest more often. Consider if you put $15,000 into a saving account for 5 years that provided 2.8% annually, but compounded it into each of the following ways. So first thing, we're going to change our percent to a decimal. That's going to be 0.028. Okay. All right. So we're going to plug in. What was our initial amount? 15,000. We're going to say 1 plus 0.028. And we're going to divide it by how many times it happened in that year, which was 2. We're going to raise it to the second power times how many years, which was 5. This is where you're going to want to use Desmos over any other calculator because it's really messy putting it in. Okay, so I'm going to walk it through with you. So if you have your laptop open, I would open Desmos. And you're going to type in the initial amount, which was 15,000. You're going to put parentheses, 1 plus 0.028 divided by 2. And we're going to raise it to the parentheses 2 times 5. Practice typing that in. That's probably where most people make a mistake. Okay, so you should have gotten 17,237.36. Remember, we're going to round to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money. Good? All right, coming back to here, we're going to do the next one. The only thing that we are going to change is this is now going to be a 4 on the bottom and a 4 in the top. Or I'm sorry, in the exponent. Can you fill in the rest of that table? Okay, take a second. Try that out. Don't not try it. I need you to try it. All right, so look at the answers on the board. Okay, which one of these would you prefer? Like, what would you want to happen? Monthly? How much? Which one of these produces the most money?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're daily.
daily. Okay, why? Because it has the most money. Okay, it's compounded 365 days, right? So it's compounded more, you make more money, right? So compare it to the semi-annually. How much of a difference is there? Not like a whole lot. Look at the board. Look at the board. Compounded daily versus compounded semi-annually. It's not a big difference, but it's still significant. Like free money is free money, right? I put this in and I didn't even like do anything with it. It just compounded itself. Cool. Does that make sense? Okay. Flip page. We're going to talk about the last one. You've seen this before back in Algebra 1. What is E? Does anybody know?
Equal, right? Let me tell me.
Okay. E is actually a number. It's 2.71 and it continues on. Okay. Yeah. So P is the initial or principal amount. R is the rate. T is the time. Okay. Now E is an actual number. So on Desmos, if you type E, it's that 2.71. Don't use 2.71. Use the E button. I don't know what that question was, but I'm gonna clarify for you. If I type in E, it's 2.718281824846. You know how pi is like 3.1479, blah, 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 blah. E is the same thing, but just different number. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. What would be the value of Noah's loan after 5 years if it was compounded continuously? So how much was Noah's loan on the previous page, the initial value? 15,000, right? We're going to say times E raised to the, what was the percent? Okay, so 0.028, and we're going to multiply it times 5. Again, we're going to go into Desmos. We're going to type that junk in. So 15,000 times E raised to the, make sure you use parentheses, 0.028 times 5. So we got 17,254.11 because remember we round to 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money. Okay, was that more or less than the daily?
That is less. Oh, it's more.
Is more. Okay, by 10 cents, but hey, 10 cents. Okay. All right, I want you to take a second. I want you to try 1, 2, and 3. I want you to try 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Do those. You're using the formulas that we have learned on the previous pages. Okay, so take a moment, try those. I see that we're struggling with number 1, so let's chat about it. So what was the initial amount? 4,000. Okay. Are we dealing with simple interest, compound interest, or continuous?
Simple.
How do you know?
Because it says simple.
Okay, says simple interest, right? Okay, so then it says it wants to double, right? We want to double our investment. So if we start with 4,000, how much is double of 4,000? 8,000. We're going to set it equal to 8,000. Okay. A lot of us are still having some issues with our percentage. If we change this to a decimal, remember we move it 2 decimal places over, so that's 0.09. Okay. And we're going to say 1 plus 0.09. We're going to raise it to the t power, or you can raise it to the x power. That's okay. I'm going to show you a shortcut so you don't have to solve by hand. You ready? This is why Desmos is pretty cool. Desmos is the shortcut. So what you're going to do is you're going to type this in. So this is going to be 8 Because look at, oh, no.
Wait, I don't think that's right. You said that, I wasn't. I'm spoken. It's simple interest, not compounding.
Right. That's not compounded though. But if we use simple interest still, like the one that's on the paper. If you don't stop saying it.
Yes, not how you say it. Why?
Okay. All right, my apologies. So looking at the formula that you have on the previous page for simple interest. Here it is. Right here. You've got P plus P times R times T. Okay. So we said our initial plus our initial times our rate times our time. Well, we don't know what time is, so we're going to name that X. And we're going to set it equal to 8,000. When we look at where it crosses the X-axis, what number is that?
11.
Okay, so the answer is 11.1 years. I didn't have to do any math. Now, if you want to solve this by hand, like if you ever have to be asked to solve it by hand, what you can do is you can subtract 4,000 and then divide by 4,000. And then divide by 0.09. And when you do that, you're going to get X equals 11.1. So get the same thing. I personally like to move quickly through my tests. You can use Desmos. Cool. If you do have to show work, you need to put this down, the equation, okay, at the very least. Okay. On the next one, you're doing simple interest again. So you're doing that same formula. You're doing P plus P times R times T. Okay, so you're using that simple interest formula. Okay. On the next one after that, you're using compound interest. The next one is continuous. Okay, so go ahead and take a moment. You're working on those. We have enough time to get everything done. So, yeah, so no. Okay, so on here, you're going to do 10,000 plus 10,000 times 0.05 times 8. So this is the formula for simple interest. Okay, so simple interest is P plus P times R times T, right? Okay, now on part B, oh, I'm sorry, plug that in. What'd you get? 14,000? Yeah? Questions on that? We okay? Yes, you'll be given the formulas. Yeah? Okay. All right. America's Bank offers an 8-year CD at an annual rate of 4.7% compounded monthly. If you see an LY word, automatically compound interest. Okay. So we're going to plug that into our formula. Our initial is how much? Our initial is 10,000. Our rate is how much? 0.047. What is our in? 12, because we're compounding monthly. And how much is our years? 8. All right. Plug that in. Practice plugging that one in. That's the one that everybody messes up on because they don't pay attention to parentheses in the exponent. Okay. When you do that, you're going to get 14,553.9878. 78. Okay. Union Bank offers a 8-year CD at an annual rate of 4.5% continuous. That means I'm going to use continuous compounding. So that's PERT. Yeah. What was my initial? 10,000. E raised to the 0.045. And how many years are we doing that for? 8. When you type this in, you have to use parentheses in the exponent. You'll mess up otherwise. When you type it into your calculator, that's going to give me 14,333.29. I see a lot of people writing down, which means that we didn't try it. We didn't have enough time to get there. Which one is it? We didn't have enough time to get there. Looking at all y'all. Y'all waiting until the last minute. You cannot sit and watch math. It's not a spectator sport. Please try them. Okay. Can you try the last one then? Try the last one. All right. I got 6,923.40. What'd you get?
That's just not what I know. That's just not what I know.
Y'all make my heart hurt. Just a little.
Wait, did you do it so we know that what we did wrong?
Okay, what was the initial?
12,000.
12,000. Okay. What is E? E is just our number. We're going to raise it to the 0.055 and then multiply it times. You see how if I don't put parentheses, it drops down?
Yes.
So I have to put parentheses times how many years?
10. That's what I got too.
Oh, you know why? Because we didn't read. Reading is fundamental. So how much money did he deposit? So what is this question actually asking you for? How much did he start with? Okay, so here it is. Yeah, reading is hard. Okay, so he has 12,000 at the end. We don't know how much he started with. We got E raised to the 0.055. We're timesing that by 10. So how do we solve this junk? Okay. We're going to take 12,000 and we're going to divide it by E raised to the 0.055 times 10. Okay, so why did I do that?
Because it's separated from the exponent, you put 9, so you got to take it out together.
Okay, so I'm going to divide it by this junk because that's all together, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here it is again. I took 12,000, which was our final amount, and I divided it by E raised to the 0.055 times 10. Okay, and that gives me 6,923.40. That's how much we started with when we deposited. Yes, no, maybe. Need more practice? Yes.
Yeah, maybe not a different way I did it.
What'd you do? What'd you do? Did you type it in and leave an X for the initial? Yeah. Okay. So here, I got you. I'll type that in. All right. So he just said he did it a different way. This is how he did it. He said 12,000 is equal to X times E raised to the 0.055 times 10. And if you zoom out, is that correct? No, that guy's got to go. So if we zoom out, we can see the line pop up somewhere. Here it is. Look at the number. Automatically does it for me. I don't have to solve. Help me help you. Pay attention. Okay. Initial amount, I substituted an X in for it. I typed it into Desmos. There it is on the X axis. Okay. You can check your work doing this. Now, if I ask you to show your work, you actually have to solve. Yes? Everybody understand? This is why Desmos is cool. That's my homie. Desmos be awesome. Okay. On the next page is just some vocabulary that we've talked about throughout this unit. So if you forget, it's right there. These are the formulas that you'll be given tomorrow on the test. Okay, yes, the test is tomorrow. Okay, I gave you a review guide yesterday. Your job is to prepare for your test tomorrow. Tomorrow I will take last minute questions right before y'all take it. Remember, we have a fire drill tomorrow. So I'm taking questions before the fire drill. Once we get back, we're taking the test. Okay, so you can't come in and be like, I didn't look at math last night, because we don't have enough time to review all of that. Okay, cool. All right, what I want you to do is get a sheet of paper out. Get a just blank sheet of paper. What? Oh my God. Somebody get there. So if you're able to do this review guide, then you should be good for the test. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up the key so that you can go back and look it over. Okay. You need to do your review guide tonight. You need to do your review guide tonight. Okay. It shouldn't take you very long. It is preparing you for the test. If you're not able to do your review guide quickly, then that's where you need to go back and look at your notes and review and prepare for your tomorrow's test. If you did horribly on your quiz, this is your opportunity to make it up. Yes. So if you don't like your quiz grade, fine, do better on your test. Yes.
You put in the quiz grade from yesterday?
Yes.
Yes.
I got it.
Okay. All right. So right now you could be working on that review guide, or you could be working on your Delta Math. Remember, Delta Math is also due tonight. Okay. So that's why you don't want to wait until